Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in day 2 of Azure Storage Account, we are going to see how we can create Azure Storage Account. So there are many ways from which we can create Azure Storage Account. The very first, we can go through the Azure portal and we can create Azure Storage Account from there. Second option, we have Azure CLI. Third option, we have if you are using any kind of infrastructure as a code tool like Terraform, then with the help of that Terraform also we can create Azure storage account. So basically today we are going to see how we can create from Azure portal. And why I am going with Azure portal, because we will get to know a lot of features which are available during the creation of Azure storage account. So let's move to the Azure portal. So here you can see the icon here, storage account. If you cannot see on your Azure portal, you can just simply go here and search for storage account. So before creating any resources on Azure portal, the very first thing you need Azure subscription. Then you need a resource group under which we are going to create a storage account. So I already have a subscription which is pay as you go, and we have a resource group called demo. So under demo resource group, we are going to create a storage account. So let me click on this icon and let me click on create. So the very first field you can see here the subscription which is automatically taken, and the resource group as well. Now the storage account name should be unique across. So if I'll, for example, if I'll put here simple demo1, it is showing the storage account name demo1 is already taken. It means somebody is already using the storage account with this name. So this name should be unique. So let me put some random numbers here. Okay, so demo 9846, this storage account name is available. So we will, like, it basically did not prompt any kind of error or warning. The next thing, you have to choose a reason, under which reason you have to create this storage account. So for me, I'm in Central India, so I'm going to use a Central India. If you have any another geographic location, you can choose that particular location. Now you can see the another tab here, we have primary services. So this is not mandatory field, but it is good to have, like, if you are already aware, okay, what all the services we need to, or what all the storage service we need to use as part of this storage account, we can simply select from here. If you are not aware, we can do that later also after creation of a storage account. So for me, I'm going with Azure Blob Storage or Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Now if I'll come to performance part, so there are two options. We have standard and premium. So standard, you can see it is recommended for most of the scenarios, and the premium one, it is recommended for scenario that required low latency. So I'm going with default one, standard. If you use premium, definitely there will be extra charges for that. So I am going with premium one, sorry, standard one. Then we have an option called redundancy. So redundancy we use for data replication. So here, if you can see, we are getting four options: locally redundant storage, geo redundant, zone redundant, and geo zone redundant. So I'm going with default one, locally redundant, because I'm just going to create a simple storage account. These redundancy option we will discuss in details in coming videos. As of now, you just understand this is generally used for data replication. In the advanced part, where we can see the security terms, so the very first option we are getting here, required secure transfer for REST API operations. So what does it mean basically? So if you want the access on this particular storage account from HTTPS only, then you have to check this box. If you want access from HTTP as well protocol, then you have to uncheck this option. So if I'll go to the instruction about this particular feature, so you can see the secure transfer operation enhance the security of a storage account by only allowing REST API operation on the storage account using HTTPS. Any request using HTTP will be rejected when this setting is enabled. So you have to keep in mind while creating a storage account, you want access from both the protocol HTTP and HTTPS. If you want only from HTTPS, then another option we have, allow enabling anonymous access on individual containers. So generally we don't enable this because we don't want anonymous user to access our resources. So you have to keep this disabled as a security best practice. Then another option we are getting, enable storage account key access. So whenever to like basically to access Azure storage services, there are many ways. So you can either you can use access keys, you can use shared access signature, or you can use manage identities. So again, this we will discuss in deep in coming videos, but for now just understand this is required to access our storage services. Now minimum TLS version, you can choose whatever you want. I always go with the latest one, so I'm going with version 1.2 here. Now another option you can see, permitted scope for copy operation. What does it mean? Basically, if you want to copy your data from one storage account to another, or if you want in particular tenant, for example, I am this in my tenant, so I want the data copy from same tenant only, then you have to use this option. If you want from a storage account that have a private endpoint to the same virtual network, so basically for copying the data from one account to another, you have to use that option. So I'm going with default, from any storage account I can copy the data from this particular storage account which I'm going to create. Then we have hierarchical namespace. So if you want to enable SFTPs and all, then you can enable this option and you can fill out these fields. So I'm not going with hierarchical namespace for now. Now the important part here, access tiers. So access tiers you have to choose based on how frequent or what kind of data and how frequently you are going to access the data. Based on that you have to choose these tiers: hot, cold, and cool and cold. So cold is called archive tier, this is cool and hot. So again we will discuss these tiers in a separate video in more details. For now you can simply understand this particular option is used to this particular option is required, like how you want to access or how long you want to store your data. So based on that you have to choose or access tier. Now in networking part, there are three options we are getting. If you want to enable public access from all the network on this particular storage account, then you can choose this option, but again it is not a best security practice. Another option we have, enable public access from a selected virtual network and IP address range. Then last we have disable public access and use private access. If you use the last one, it means you cannot access this particular storage account from internet. You have to go through a private virtual network or private endpoint basically. So if you are going with this particular option, then you have to add a private endpoint here. So I'm going with default public access from all the network. And routing preference, I'm going with Microsoft network routing. Now if I'll come to the next tab, which is data protection. So this tab is basically helpful, like how you want to protect your data. For example, accidentally if you have or mistakenly you have deleted something and you want to retrieve it back, then we have these many options. So like enable soft delete for blobs, enable soft delete for containers, enable soft delete for file share. So these are the number of days under which we can retrieve the data. So for example, if today I have deleted something from my Azure Storage account, then I have a time period of 7 days. Within 7 days I can retrieve my data. If it is more than that, more than 7 days, then I cannot retrieve that data, so that data will be completely lost. Then again we have a tracking here. So enable versioning for blobs. So this is helpful if you want to track what or who is going to change what on your Azure Storage accounts. It will keep a version of every changes. It is something similar to a version control system, for example Git, where any developers do any kind of modification on the code, it will create another version or another copy of that particular code. So same concept here also we have. Now if I'll come to encryption part, so again Microsoft manage keys, so this is the default one. If you want to create your own keys and you want to manage, then you can utilize customer managed key. But if you are using customer managed keys, then you have a sole responsibilities to manage these keys. You have to in a particular time duration you have to rotate these keys and all. So I'm going with Microsoft managed keys, which is the default one, and enable support for custom managed keys. So I'm not going to enable custom. Basically, if you are using custom managed keys, then you can use what all the services we required for customer managed keys encryptions. And last, we have option for enable infrastructure encryption. Now next type we have a text. So here basically we have to like what purpose we are going to create this particular storage account. So we can give the name and value of that particular thing. For example, production, or I would say any name like production app or something, like any name, whatever suits. You can provide the some meaningful name basically here. And then finally you have to go review and create. So the whatever the details we have filled out till now, so it will validate all the things. Once it will pass, then only we get option to create a storage account. So it will take couple of minutes. Let's wait. So the deployment is completed. Let me go to resources. So this is the name of my storage account, which is demo 9846, and you can see there are a lot of options, so which we will cover one by one in coming videos. So let me quickly go through the few important tab here. The very first, you can see here activity log. Whatever happened or any in your Azure storage account, you can see all the operations basically here. Now here we have a tab tags basically. So I have not defined any tag. If you want, you can define the tag name here also. Then access control. So this is required, like to whom you want to access on this particular storage account using role based access control. Then we have a storage browsers, storage movers, so all these things. Let me come to the data storage part. So the containers basically is used when we create a blob storage. So blob storage will be created as part of the containers. Then we have file share, queue storage service, table storage service. So basically this is the storage account we have created. Now we have to choose one of the data storage option from here where we want to store our data. Now next we have a security and networking. So all these things you can manage here. We will cover access keys and signature, shared access signature in coming videos. Now we have data management. You can see here redundancy, data protection, lot of things you can see here. So we will cover all these things one by one. If I'll go to redundancy, we have chosen here locally redundant storage. It means only single data center, in a single data center our data will be replicated. If you want, we can change it from here as well. So you can see the few options are not visible here because again it's depend on the tier which you are using, or sometime it depend on location as well, because few features are not available in all the locations. So there are many options which we will cover in coming videos. So in this video I'm just want to go through what all the options we will get when we create Azure storage account. So that's all for today. See you in next video. Thank you so much.